Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Tabak, did NIH fund gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology through EcoHealth?
It depends on your definition of gain-of-function research. If you're speaking about the generic term, yes, we did, but this is research. The generic term is research that goes on in many, many labs around the country. It is not regulated, and the reason it's not regulated is it poses no threat or harm to anybody.
Thank you. Dr. Tabak, since COVID-19, we've seen many problems with the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the Chinese Communist Party hiding information and refusing to provide data to the United States. Do you believe this lack of transparency cost Americans their lives?
I can't speak to that directly. I can tell you that the failure of the Wuhan Institute of Virology to provide us with the data that we requested and the lab notebooks that we requested certainly impeded our ability to understand what was really going on with the experiments that we have been discussing this morning.
And because of that, do you think we should continue to provide, or the NIH should continue to provide grants where lab work will be done in China?
Well, this, as you know, the Wuhan Institute of Virology has been disbarred, so we will not be doing.
How about any other labs? Should we fund any work in labs in China?
I think if you look at the new policy that has just been released, there is mention of consideration for funding in countries of concern, and China is one of those countries.
So I don't understand your answer. Does that mean you don't want to fund labs in China anymore?
That would have to come under very, very high scrutiny before it was
done. Dr. Tabak, at the time of funding to EcoHealth, did NIH have a concrete, understandable definition of risky, of concern gain-of-function research throughout NIH?
I can't talk for the whole of NIH, but certainly the organizations that support this type of research had an understanding.
All right. In the United States, what level of biosecurity would be used for the type of research that was being done at the Wuhan Institute of Virology under the sub-grant from EcoHealth?
There were two types of experiments they did. The experiments involving cell culture would likely be done at a BSL-2 level, and the experiments involved with mice would likely be done at a BSL-3 level.
Thank you. And how much time do I have? Oh, I've got some time. Good. NIH boasts a rigorous grant review process. Dr. Morenz, a senior advisor to Dr. Fauci, stated the following about Peter Daszak, the president of EcoHealth. Quote, "Peter Daszak is one of my oldest and best friends, and I talk to him all the time," unquote. Indeed, after one of Dr. Daszak EcoHealth's grants from NIH was suspended in response to EcoHealth's violation of grant policies, Dr. Morenz wrote to Dr. Daszak from his private Gmail instead of his official email. It appears from what our committee has learned that Dr. Morenz and Dr. Daszak regularly conspired to reinstate Dr. Daszak's grant, all while avoiding federal records laws and the transparency of FOIA. My question is, do you believe these statements that were made and actions between Dr. Morenz and Dr. Daszak undercut NIH's claim of a rigorous grant review process?
I can't speak to the specifics because I am not privy to any of this, but certainly one would not have a federal official having discussions of that type with a potential grantee.
And does Dr. Morenz still work for NIH?
Dr. Morenz is an employee of NIH, yes.
And was there any repercussions for him using private emails and avoiding FOIA?
We do not discuss personnel issues, as you know.
Well, I certainly hope that when somebody violates federal law, that there should be some type of repercussions. So it seems very convenient that you can't tell us anything. But I thank you, and I yield back.